Okay, we're gonna read Act 3,
Yes.
Scene 1.
Take 1.
Okay, so
Act 3, Scene 1.
this chapter,
I bet they don't even listen to this.
this act begins upon Macbeth's return from his coronation ceremony. So yesterday I told you that the scene where he gets crowned, it kind of started showing on the movie. It's not even part of the play itself. We know it happened, but it doesn't happen on stage. So Act 3 begins some days later when Macbeth has returned to his castle. And so his castle is now the king's castle. Okay. Do you want to be Banquo or Lady Macbeth? Page 81.
I can be Banquo.
Okay, I'll be Lady Macbeth.
Thou hast it now, King Cawdor Glamis, all as the weird woman promised, and I fear thou playedst most foully before it. Yet it said it should not stand in thy posterity, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. If there come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine. Why, there is verities on thee made good, May they not be the oracles as well, and set me up in hope, but hush, no more.
Okay, so Banquo is feeling like
Macbeth may have done
Macbeth may have done something bad to get what he has, but at the same time, he can't be totally against it because
his son will be king.
they promised him something good also. So he can't hate it outright, even though he's a little suspicious. Okay, so the trumpets sound, and Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, Ross, Lennox, a bunch of other guys all enter, and this is Macbeth's first time back in his castle.
It's weird that they don't call her Queen Macbeth.
I agree.
Wait, what?
Anyway.
Well, no, they might, but they just can't change it in the middle of the book.
They could. Okay, here's our chief guest.
If he had been forgotten, it had been as a gap in our great feast, and all thing unbecoming.
Tonight we will hold a solemn supper, sir, and I'll request your presence.
Sorry. Let your highness command upon me, to which my duties are the most indissoluble tie forever knit.
Invite you this afternoon?
We should have else die. My good lord.
We should have else desired your good advice, which still hath been both grave and prosperous in this day's council, but will take tomorrow. Is it far you ride?
As far, my lord, and as I will fill up the time, twist this supper, not go my horse, the better. I must become a borrower of the night for a dark hour or twain.
I must ride an hour or two after dark if his horse isn't fast enough.
Oh. See, they should put that in.
Well, they put it right in the side.
Fail not our feast.
My lord, I will not.
Okay, pause for a second. So, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth come in and announce what?
We're gonna have a feast.
We're having a feast. It's celebratory, but also
Solemn.
sad because the
Because
king
he
just
died.
died. And Banquo is the
Kind of right hand man kind of guy, right?
what's his role at the feast? He's like
he's the speaker.
sorta. Guest.
Guest. Hey, come on.
Guest of honor.
Oh, never mind.
You're going, but he's like the guest of honor. Now Banquo says, unfortunately, so it's morning. The feast is tonight. Right now, what's Banquo about to do?
Leave.
Leave. And how long will it take him to get back?
2 nights if his horse is fast.
Maybe he'll be back tonight if his horse rides fast enough.
I thought it said 2 nights.
No.
Ride hour or 2 after. Oh.
Yeah, an hour or two after
That's
dark.
what I got.
Yep. Okay. Macbeth says, make sure you're there. Banquo says,
My
okay.
Oh.
All right, Macbeth.
here our bloody cousins are bestowed in England and in Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricide, filling their hearers with strange invention. But of that tomorrow, when therewithal we shall have cause of state craving us jointly. I to you, Horace, adieu, till you return at night. Goes Fleance with you?
My good lord, our time does call upon us.
I wish your horses swift and sure of foot, and so I do commend you do commend you to their backs. Farewell.
And Banquo nods and leaves.
Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night. To make society the sweeter welcome, we will keep ourselves till supper time alone. While then, God be with you.
So everybody leaves. Okay, so Macbeth makes an announcement in that first speech up there. First question, what is parricide? Parricide.
Is it related to parasite?
No. What is the ending CIDE? What other words have that ending?
Murder and suicide.
Suicide.
Genocide, homicide.
Genocide. Homicide.
Insecticide.
Fratricide, which is killing your brother. So parricide is
The
Killing of your parents?
Who do they think committed parricide?
Oh, the
sons.
The two sons, and we already
Because
knew
they
this.
left.
We already knew this because they reported it at the end of scene 3 from Act 2. But Malcolm went to England and Donalbain went to Ireland. He says they are filling their hearers with strange invention. So they're telling anyone who will listen that they are innocent. Is this a problem?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perhaps. So Banquo and Fleance are going to take off. Then at the very end, Macbeth says everybody needs to spend the rest of the day
alone, away from me.
alone. Then when we all get back together tonight for the party, we'll be so much happier to see each other. So, see y'all at 7.
Yep.
That makes sense.
And
Okay.
he wants to have a word with one.
Oh my gosh, you weren't even finished.
I know, but she stopped me.
Oh.
Sirrah, a word with you. Attend those men, our pleasure.
They are, my lord, without the palace gate.
Bring them before us.
And so the servant enters. So Macbeth is waiting to talk to someone. The servant knows who it is. So now Macbeth is alone, and he reveals his deep, dark thoughts to us.
Okay.
In a very long manner.
Yeah, I know. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, and to that dauntless temper of his mind, he hath a wisdom that doth guide his valor, to act in safety.
Okay, so what's the problem with Banquo?
He's more noble, like a sort of knight guy, like you did bad.
Okay,
I'm trying to think of the word.
he's a very good person, but what's Macbeth's fear? It says our fears in Banquo stick deep.
That he knows.
He knows. Knows what specifically?
That he killed the king. Or he suspects it.
Why?
Because he's been acting
witches.
weird.
Because of the prophecies.
Oh.
So Banquo, remember, still the only characters who know about the prophecies are
Banquo and Macbeth.
Macbeth, Lady Macbeth, and Banquo, and the
Yes.
witches. Nobody else knows. Then when it says his royalty of nature, Macbeth is worried who he's going to remain loyal to. Will his loyalty remain with him, Macbeth, or will it be with
The dead king.
the dead king and trying to solve his murder? So he's feeling quite nervous about that. Okay, go ahead.
There is none but he whose being I do fear, and under him my genius is rebuked. As it is said, Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the sisters when first they put the name of king upon me, and bade them speak to him. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him farther to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown, and put a barren scepter in my grip, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. If it be so, for Banquo's issue, have I filed my mind. For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered, but rancors in the vessel of my peace, only for them, and mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man to make them kings. The seeds of Banquo kings. Rather than so, come fate into the list and champion me to the utterance. Who's there?
Okay. So
Did you ask if you could interrupt?
we're actually filming right now. So Macbeth feels that because of Banquo's prophecy that his son will be king, that everything Macbeth has done is not for him, but actually for Banquo. So if anything, Banquo should be happy.
Because Banquo's son is gonna get to be king?
That's what
Why?
the witches predicted.
Why? What if Macbeth has a son? Or is he cannot have sons?
So we're going to talk about this as we keep reading and get more into the witches. But the thing is, were these prophecies meant to be interpreted literally?
Maybe.
Or were they speaking more in general? Like, maybe Macbeth wasn't supposed to be the king of Scotland, but maybe king of Norway.
Oh.
Maybe the Norwegians were going to overthrow Sweno, their king, that took them to war, and elect Macbeth. Like, who knows what was supposed to happen? One of the themes of this book is you shouldn't mess with fate. And Macbeth clearly intervened. So now, what's going to happen?
Bad thing.
Question mark. That's why we're reading
Well,
this.
let's see. If Banquo's sons are going to be king, and Banquo
Why isn't
is
Banquo
threat-
gonna be king?
Because if Banquo's not going to be king, and Macbeth sees him as a threat, and Macbeth is the king now, then that means the sons have to somehow become king. But if Banquo's not going to be king, that means he's probably dead. Which means Macbeth might kill Banquo, and then Banquo's kid Fleance might kill Macbeth, and then he'll be king.
Did you just protect the book in front of you?
I'm not saying.
He did!
Okay, so the servant comes back,
Sounds like
Turn off the
and
screen.
Macbeth calls to him at the door.
who's there? Now go to the door and stay there till we call.
And the servant leaves, and the two people that Macbeth was waiting to talk to were these two, hitmen. Okay, so I'll be number 1 and you can be number 2. I don't know if number 2 actually has any. Yeah, it does. Okay,
Where's number 2 at?
on the next page. Okay, go ahead. Top of 87.
Was it not yesterday we spoke together?
Was so please. Oh,
Ready?
yeah.
It was so please your highness.
Well then, now, have you considered of my speeches? Know that it was he, in the times past, which held you so unfortunate, which you thought had been our innocent self. This I made good to you in our last conference, passed in probation with you, how you were borne in hand, how crossed the instruments, who wrought with them, and all things else that might, to half a soul, and to a notion crazed, say, thus did Banquo.
So yesterday, Macbeth met with these two guys already. What little seed did he put in their mind? What does it mean when he says, it was he in the past who held you under fortune?
Who is this?
The king?
No,
No, it's Banquo.
Banquo.
it was Banquo. So Banquo did what?
So, held him back.
Held them back, prevented them from
Exceeding in life.
exceeding. What kind of people usually become hitmen?
Spiteful people?
Okay, people who didn't have
A lot of money.
success in other areas of their life. So Macbeth told these guys that the reason they're in the lowly position they're in is because of
Banquo.
Banquo.
This guy is down.
You made
back
it
in the
known
sheet.
to us.
I did so, and went further, which is now our point of second meeting. Do you find your patience so predominant in your nature that you can let this go? Are you so gospelled to pray for this good man and for his issue, whose heavy hand hath barred you to the grave, and beggared yours forever?
We are men, my liege.
Aye, in the catalogue you go for men, as hounds and greyhounds, mongrels, spaniels, curs, sloths, water rugs, and demi-wolves are cleft, all by the name of dogs. The valued file distinguishes the swift, the slow, the subtle, the housekeeper, the hunter, every one according to the gift which bounteous nature hath in him closed, whereby he does receive particular addition from the bill that writes them all alike.
So he says, first Macbeth says, what are you going to do about it? Are you such a good person that you can know who caused your misfortune and do nothing about it? Like, are you that noble of a person? And the murderer says, I am a man. Macbeth says, yeah, just like every dog is a dog, but some dogs are better than others. Some are mutts. Some are purebreds. Okay? And whose fault is it that you're not at the top?
Banquo.
Reminds them again. Okay, go ahead.
Now so of men. Now, if you have a station in the file, not I the worst rank of manhood, say it, and I will put that business in your bosoms, whose execution takes your enemy off, grapples you to the heart and love of us, who wear our health but sickly in his life, which in his death were perfect.
I am one, my liege, whom my vile blows and buffets of the world have so incensed, and that I am reckless what I do spite the world.
So he is a reckless man.
Oh, yeah. He is a
And I
bad
another,
dog.
so weary with disasters, tugged with fortune, that I would set my life on any chance to mend it or be rid on it.
Both of you. No Banquo was your enemy.
True, my lord.
So he is mine, and in such bloody distance that every minute of his being thrust against my nearest of life, and though I could be barefaced with power, and though I could with barefaced power sweep him from my sight and bid my will avouch it, yet I must not, for certain friends that are both his and mine, whose loves I made not drop, but wail his fall, who I myself struck down, and thence it is that I to your assistance do make love, masking the business from the common eye, for sundry weighty reasons.
So why has Macbeth contacted these two guys?
I don't want to kill him myself.
Yeah, I can't do it myself. I want to,
But I can't.
but I can't because he and I have too many
Memory or connections.
Friends.
connections, too many common people who will be
Intertwined.
too suspicious if Banquo ends up dead. Second, murderer.
Oh. We shall, my lord, perform what you command us.
Though our lives...
Your spirits shine through you, within this hour at most. I will advise you where to plant yourselves, acquaint you with the perfect spy of the time, the moment on it, for it must be done tonight, and something from the palace. Always thought that I require a clearness. And with him, to leave no rubs nor botches in the work, Fleance, his son, that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart. I'll come to you anon.
We are resolved, my lord.
I'll call upon you straight. Abide within.
And they leave.
Is concluded. Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find heaven, must find it out tonight.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.